Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Friday, one day before Arsenal head up to Manchester City, looking for their first win, their first point, their first goal with the Premier League season. But they will be going in on the back of that morale-boosting victory in the Carabao Cup in midweek. 6-0, wasn't it? I forgot what the score was for a minute. There's so many goals. 6-0 against West Brom. So they will at least be heading up to the Etihad with that nice sort of winning feeling in the back of their minds. Expecting to see a much different team when Arsenal line up at the Etihad on Saturday afternoon. I will go through that in this video. We'll talk about that match. We'll talk about some of the big decisions Mikel Arteta is facing in terms of his possible starting 11. I'll give my predicted starting 11 as well at the end. So plenty of chat about Manchester City coming up. Good thing is that they're arriving in that game before Cristiano Ronaldo looks like he will be arriving at City. What a big transfer that is going to be. Penny for all the Manchester United fans' thoughts about that one. But yeah, even if that does happen, it's not going to happen in time for him to play Arsenal. So silver linings and all that. Before we get to the Man City game, though, let's quickly talk about some of Mikel Arteta's comments in the press conference yesterday. I didn't get time to do a video after the press conference had finished because I had quite a bit of work going on. So I thought I'd go through a couple of that, talking about what he's had to say about transfers and more so outgoings than incomings, because incomings are pretty quiet. And as I've previously stated in videos, I think Arsenal need to get some players out before they have any chance of getting anyone in. And if they are going to get someone in, it feels to me like right back's probably the only position they're going to still look to improve before Tuesday if they can. But to do that, you think at least one of the four right backs, if you include Ainsley Maitland-Niles at the club, has to leave for that to happen. But in terms of what Mikel had to say, he was asked, do you think you'll sign any more players? He said, we don't know. We've already done a lot of things, ins and outs, a lot. I think it's 16 or 17 deals in total with some renewals, which is a lot of things. And there are still some things to do in the last few days because there are still some question marks and deals that can happen. But we'll see. When you look at some of those deals that can happen, we saw Torreira was announced and confirmed by Arsenal yesterday. £15 million option to turn that move to Fiorentina permanent next summer. Then you got Eddie Nketiah, possible to Crystal Palace or even abroad. That's something that could potentially happen before Tuesday. Sead Kolasinac, even though he played against West Brom, he could potentially go. Mikel Arteta was asked about him yesterday in his press conference, and he said, look, he's our player at the moment. We'll see what happens. But there is an opportunity potentially for Sead Kolasinac to go. Willian as well. He was asked about Willian leaving. He said, look, we are having some conversations with him and the agent, and we are evaluating the position that we are in at the moment. We've spoken about the interest from Corinthians in Willian. That is something that could potentially happen before Tuesday as well. And there are a couple of others in the squad, Reece Nelson, that sort of thing, who, if a decent deal comes in, Ainsley Maitland-Niles as well, perhaps, if a decent offer comes in, then Arsenal will look to get that done. Hector Bellerin, as I mentioned, as well as a potential right back outgoing. So lots of work still to do, perhaps before Tuesday, but Arsenal are running out of time to get these deals done. There's still plenty of work to do for Edu, Richard Garlick and the management team. And as I said, if any of you are really sort of waiting, hoping for another incoming potentially before Tuesday, it does feel to me like a right back would be the most likely option. But you never know, they might pull something out of the bag like they did with Thomas Partey on deadline day last Tuesday. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's what the sort of main things that Mikel said, talking about his potential squad building before Tuesday night. So we'll have to wait and see what happens between then. Okay, so Manchester City on Saturday afternoon. Difficult game for Arsenal. We know they always struggle at the Etihad. They're going into it on the back of the back-to-back defeats in the Premier League. They need to get up and running in the league. Ideally, they would love to get some points on the board before they go into the international break, just to kind of get that monkey off their back, really, and get people stop talking about them and the start of the season they've had. And there's no better way to do that, to go and get an impressive result up at the home of the champions. Now it's going to be very, very difficult. We saw what City did last time out in the league. Yes, they lost at Spurs in the opening day, but then they went back to form with that crushing victory against Norwich. Last time, Arsenal are going to have to be at their very, very best. They're going to have to be a lot better than they played against Chelsea. They're going to have to defend a lot better than they did against Chelsea if they're going to manage to keep Manchester City out. It looks like De Bruyne isn't going to be available for Manchester City. Roberto Martinez, the Belgian manager, revealing that yesterday, so that is a plus point, but there's still plenty of other players for Manchester City to do damage with going forward. Your Mahrez's, your Sterling's, Gabriel Jesus has started the season pretty well. So just because De Bruyne's missing, it's not going to get too much easier for Arsenal in that regard. Mikel was asked, look, what does it take to compete against Manchester City? He said it's the level that they read the game and the level that you have to be mentally ready for it, to run for long periods of the game without touching the ball, to sacrifice and being prepared to suffer in the right moments. But as well, having the conviction that we're going to have moments in the game, and when those opportunities arrive, we will have to take them. And that's how I want to see from the team. The team are fully committed, fully prepared, and they believe that we can go to Manchester and get the result that we want. The key thing for me there is, yes, Arsenal are going to have a lot of time without the ball, but where he says here, having the conviction that we're going to have moments in the game, and then when we have those opportunities arise, we will take them. And that's what I want to see from the team. And I agree with him there. But my slight disagreement is when you kind of see Arsenal in recent times, certainly against Manchester City and against Liverpool, most notably last season, towards the end of last season at the Emirates, they didn't have any of those moments. They didn't really seem to have any sort of game plan. It was all just defend. And there wasn't really any attempt to get out and cause some pressure, put some pressure on themselves. And that's what I really want to see against City tomorrow, because you can't defend against City for 90 minutes. You have to at least put some pressure on them, try and get forward, try and beat the press, and just relieve the pressure on the back four. And that's what I want to see from Arsenal tomorrow. I want to see them actually going in and looking like they've got an attempt, they've got a bit of a plan to hurt Manchester City themselves and to attack them. Because we all know, look, City are a very good team, but they can be got at times, especially on the counter-attack, because they commit so many players forward. So I'd love to see Arsenal really have a little bit of conviction when they do have the ball in terms of trying to get forward and hurting Manchester City. So team news-wise, ahead of that game, and it's beginning to look slightly better for Arsenal after this really difficult start to the season they've had with injuries and with COVID. So Hector Bellerin, Bukayo Saka and Kieran Tierney, they are all fully fit and available. Saka picked up that knee injury against West Brom in midweek. Kieran Tierney limped off last week against Chelsea, but both of those two are fit and available. Hector Bellerin, after his thigh injury, is back full training and available. Whether he starts, I highly doubt it. But he is available. Gabriel is now back in full training. Personally, I'd be surprised if he starts against Manchester City. He might well be in the squad. He might well be on the bench. But I think if you're going to rush Gabriel back after so long out, you probably don't want to do it in a game against a team like Manchester City. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just err on the side of caution with Gabriel and wait until after the international break to bring him back into the team. But it's a boost that he's back. Willian's back full training as well. I'm sure plenty of you won't see that as a boost, but he is back full training after his issue with COVID. Ben White, not quite yet. He's they're still sort of assessing his health and fitness at the moment, but it doesn't appear like he could be back and involved against Manchester City. And Thomas Partey also not yet involved, but he is due back to training next week. And so when you put all that together and think about how things could look after the international break in terms of the squad, you know, Gabriel's, Ben White, Thomas Partey, you know, all those sort of players available and fit after the international break, and that is, you'd hope that you're going to see a much different Arsenal team, especially now that Lacazette and Aubameyang are back as well. So that's the latest team news, beginning to look a little bit better for Arsenal ahead of the trip to the Etihad. So what are the big decisions facing Mikel Arteta? He's got plenty of them, really. And you know, knowing Mikel, especially when he comes up against Manchester City, he's going to do something that he might think is clever, but invariably most of us think is pretty mad or stupid, and like playing Willian as a false nine, which he did last time at the Etihad. You know that he'll be spending all week at Colney trying to work out how he could outfox Guardiola and all that sort of thing. And the two of them know each other so well, they try and think outside the box. But, you know, take all anything like, you know, a mad decision like playing Willian false nine. You look at the other big decisions he's got. Could he potentially go with a back three? I was surprised he didn't go back three against Chelsea. I think he probably would have done had Ben White been fit, or Gabriel especially. Neither of those two are going to be available this weekend. So again, I think it'd probably be a surprise if he goes to the back three in this one to keep things tight. You do have the option of potentially playing Kieran Tierney as a left-sided centre-back and then having Mari as a centre and Holding on the right, but I just don't think he'll do that. So I think he'll probably stick with the back four, but that is a decision he has to make. And then you've got the key decision of who plays at right back. It's sort of chopping, changing with every single game that we see at the moment in terms of who plays at right back. Cedric got the nod against Chelsea, then wasn't involved against West Brom. Callum Chambers started against Brentford. in midweek as well. So who's going to line up there? Do you bring Cedric back in? Cedric was rested completely against West Brom in midweek. Personally, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see Cedric there again, like against Chelsea. So that's a big decision. Then you got, do you play both Laka and Auba from the start? If you do, does that mean playing Auba out on the left? I hope he doesn't do that, but that is a decision that he'll have to make. And we've seen plenty of times that he does like to play Lacazette as a central striker and Aubameyang on the left-hand side. I hope he doesn't do that this time around. And then you got the Smith Rowe situation. Now that Odegaard's back, you think Odegaard's certainly going to start as a number 10. So then it's what do you do with Smith Rowe? Does Smith Rowe start or does Nicolas Pepe start on the left-hand side? You'd think Bukayo Saka's certainly going to start on the right. So it's who do you play on the left, Smith Rowe or Nicolas Pepe? Smith Rowe's certainly going to give you more creativity and you'd think would maybe create more chances with him and Odegaard combining for Aubameyang, but would Pepe offer more of a goal threat? You would perhaps say yes, but we'll have to wait and see. So plenty of decisions for Mikel to make ahead of that one. And I'm going to end this video on my predicted 11 for this game. Again, this isn't anything from any sort of information I've got or what I've heard that Mikel's going to do. This is just purely me attempting to predict the 11 that we're going to see start at the Etihad. So this is what I'm going to go for. I'm going to go over back four. So Leno in goal, Cedric, Rob Holding, Pablo Mari and Kieran Tierney as the back four. Then I'm going to have Sambi Lokonga and before you all kill me on the pronunciations. Him and Granit Xhaka as a central midfield duo. Then as a forward line, I'm going to go Bukayo Saka on the right, Martin Odegaard as the number 10. I'm going to go Emile Smith-Rowe as the left-sided attacker, and then Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang as the striker. So then you've got the likes of Pepe, Lacazette on the bench. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Everyone, please do have a very good day. And I'm not heading up to the Etihad on Saturday. I'll be covering the game from home. Hopefully not watching it, my hands over my face or hiding behind the sofa. Hopefully we can get a little bit of cheer heading into the international break from Arsenal. Have a good day, everyone. I'll speak to you soon.